Hi, we are with Mr. Zúñiga, the transportation advisor, and we have a few questions for you.
Yes.
How many baby people are?
So we're expecting around 1,200 people to attend.
Okay, and which stadium will be?
We will be on Estadio Azteca and Ciudad de México.
Okay. What type of transportation will your company will offer?
We're offering large buses which can carry more people than our luxury vans, which are a little bit more exclusive.
Okay. Thank you for your. Now we will look at with the expert analysis about the context system of linear equation and paradox.
Well, the contemplated linear system equations and variables, it has in common that the linear equations are used to find the variables. In this case, the variable x is the number of buses that will be added or eliminated to the original plan, and y is the number of vans that will be added or eliminated to the original plan.
Now we will explain all the methods used to solve the system of linear equations.
First, the graphing method. In this method, we need to solve for y, leaving the numbers in the other side in a specific formula that is y equals mx plus b. With this formula, we can find the y-intercept and the slope. After that, we mark the points in the graph and draw the lines. To find the solution, we need to search for the point where the lines intersect.
Next is substitution method, where you first take one equation, find its variable, and then substitute with that variable to the other equation to find the missing variable.
In the elimination method, we need to cancel one of the variables in the equation and then solve the left variable. And then, with the variable that we found, one of the equations substitute the missing variable.
In the equating method, we need to solve for one of the variables in both equations and then equal both variables in one equation. After that, pass both coefficients with variables together and the coefficient without variables to the other side. Then you solve both sides and solve for the variable. With that, you find the solution for one variable, and the variable left you substitute in any of the equations and solve for the missing variable, and then you have the values of both variables and you can find the solution.
On the substitution method, you only have to solve one equation and then change the other equation with a variable that you got from the equation that you solved firstly, instead of having to do different processes and other complicated things. In the graphing system, you only have to find the slope of the y-intercept and the x-intercept to find your dots to be able to graph it, and proceed to find your final coordinates on the Cartesian plane.
The elimination method is different from the other ways of solving system of equations because of how it gets rid of a variable. The equation method is unique because it focuses on making two expressions equal to each other.
Now we are going to present the advantages and disadvantages of each method. In the graphic method, the advantages are that this method has visual representations that are the graphs and the use of lines which are easier to use to find the solution and understand. The disadvantages of this method is that it can be difficult or confusing when it involves fractions and it takes a lot of time. The advantages of the substitution method is that it works well when one equation is already solved for a variable. It has straightforward algebraic steps and is useful for systems with non-linear equations too. The disadvantages of this method is that it can become difficult with fractions or decimals. It requires solving for a variable first, and it can be difficult solving for that variable if it has lots of fractions or high or difficult numbers. The advantages of the elimination method is that it is efficient for systems where coefficients line up easily. It avoids solving for a variable first, and is faster and cleaner than substitution for larger systems. The disadvantages of this method is that it may require multiplying equations that can be leading to large numbers. Also, it can be confusing if coefficients don't easily match. And finally, the advantages for the equating method is that it's very systematic it can be implemented easily and is useful in some areas like advanced math, engineering, or computer science. The disadvantages of this method is that it requires knowledge and it can be complex. It is time consuming because of large systems and prone to calculation errors without a calculator.
Now we're explaining the meaning of the solution in the context. The quantity of buses we add are 0, and the quantity we eliminate on bands are 5. Because x is 0, that represents the quantity of buses we add, and y is minus 5, that represents the quantity of band we eliminate. Well, thank you. This is all from this interview.